Anyway, so let's get started in the lecture part first, and then see how far we're gonna go, right? So vegan, right? This is a picture of vegan ramen that we've created like in our ramen class, ramen school before, and yeah, as you can see, like this is kind of like a Mazamen style, and then three types of different sauces that are made of like all the vegan ingredients. So what we're talking about today, right? So vegan ramen. So vegan ramen, that just sounds like really hard to exist, right? It's like it's just hard to make it. So it's a challenge to make vegan ramen himself, and then like kind of vegan ramen that can satisfy like everyone that's used to who's used to like all these like regular types of ramen. And we're talking about like, so the keys to we think like keys to like making great bowls of vegan ramen are this ingredients, right? Like what kind of ingredients like that are allowed to be used in vegan cuisines, and what ingredients that are not, right? So understanding what kind of ingredients we can use would be the key, like a kind of starting point, for us to be able to like start crafting our vegan ramen. And we're going to make vegan ramen. Like noodles, right? Noodles that are like suitable for vegan ramen. And we're going to move kitchen, and we're going to show you guys how to put together like a bowl of vegan ramen. And well, that's tonkotsu, and so that sounds not right, but like tonkotsu is like pork bone, so like that's animal based ingredients, but like we make it like vegan. So let's get started. So vegan ingredients, because like that, they need to be like plant based, right? Not animal based. So vegan ramen, like that's hard to exist, because like vegan and ramen, like kind of vegan. I mean, most of the ingredients that are like typically used for ramen, typically conventional ramen, are not allowed to be used in vegan cuisines, right? So, I mean, it's just like really hard to kind of just imagine, right? Like what kind of ramen we could make like using vegan ingredients. And then so I think the keys to creating like great bowls of vegan ramen are it's like ingredients, right? It's like, so understanding what kind of ingredients we can use for vegan ramen, and what ingredients we cannot use, right? So this understanding of that would be like kind of starting point, right? So, and then after that, maybe we can make noodles for vegan ramen, and then because there are some ingredients that are animal based, right, that we use for noodles. So we can't use them. So like we need like figure out like what kind of ingredients we can use for noodles, right? And I'm gonna move to the kitchen. We're gonna move to the kitchen, and that's where our instructor is waiting for us to show you guys, how to put together a bowl of vegan ramen, and then that's tonkotsu, tonkotsu style. So that would be our plan for today's workshop. So let's get started, and like ingredients. So ingredients is the key. So we need to figure out what kind of ingredients we can use for vegan cuisines, and of course, like it's gotta be plant-based, right? It's gotta be plant-based, and but there are other types of like restrictive diets that are out there, right? Vegan, it's like Buddhist diet, like basically vegetarian, but like they also restrict the consumption of like all these like kind of like stimulating ingredients like garlic, ginger, leeks, and onions, and things like that. So we have to be careful. Like when we are kind of trying to like serve like a bowl for Buddhist diet, and halal, right? Halal is very it's like there's a big population of halal diet people, and halal like folks like no pork and no alcohol. And no pork is fine, but like no alcohol, like kind of gives us a pressure, like kind of challenge for us to make kind of good ramen noodle, good bowl ramen, because some of the Japanese cuisines use sake and like mirin, like kind of alcohol derived ingredient seasoning. So we have to have but vegan. So what are the ingredients that are not allowed in vegan diets, right? So all animal and animal derived food, right? And then gelatin, fish derived sauces like honey, like the bee pollen, like casein and whey and etc. Right? And so like all these stuff that like there are the animal, kind of directly animal or like animal derived food. So like for example, like the butter, milk, right? And of course, like eggs are like really direct animal based food. But like so these types of ingredients, foods are not allowed. So like, but it's like, oh yeah, I know that. Like everyone knows that, right? But like if we break them down and like really understand what kind of food out there that we can use in vegan cuisines, right? Of course, like beans, peas, like lentils, right? And soy products like soybeans. All these products are made of like soybeans, fortified soy milk, like probably tofu, tempeh, and stuff like that, right? And nuts, almonds, cashews, and seeds, right? Sunflower seeds like sesame and the butter that's made out of them, right? And so we have like some alternative to the butter and the whole grains, right? Quinoa, like whole wheat, whole oats, then brown sugar and things like that. And then starchy vegetable like potatoes, sweet with corn, and then non-starchy vegetable like broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, and things like that. And then fruits, of course. Apple we actually use for ramen-based stock. So, and mangoes and like all these fruits. So there are many types of actually we're still there are constraints on the types of ingredients we can use, but like we still have a lot of options. And so vegan ramen challenge, right? Vegan ramen challenge. So can we make a great bowl ramen, right, with all the characteristics of like ramen, and kind of level of like satisfaction like we can get out of like regular authentic ramen, but like only using like vegan ingredients, right? So that's a challenge actually. Yeah, vegan. I mean, and then as I say, like the most of the ingredients that are like typically used in conventional ramen are animal based, right? Animal based, pork bones, chicken, whole chicken, right? And some of them use like beef bones and stuff like that. And so, but how can we get like how can we make like a bowl of ramen that people who go like people who eat this bowl like go like, oh yeah, I can't believe there's no animal based ingredients used in this ramen, or like it's what's worth it, instead of like choosing the animal based ramen, it's worth like trying this bowl, right, in vegan ramen. How can we make like a bowl like that, right? I mean, it's unbelievably great as it's definitely ramen, and it's we can get like a kind of same or like exceeding level like satisfaction we get from this bowl, right? That's a challenge. That's definitely a challenge, but but if we can make it, then that's well, we can get it's like raving fans, based on this dishes. So vegan ramen, there's components to it, and right, and then of course noodles, soup, sauce, and toppings, right, and then of course like soup sauce based on like all these subcomponents, and base stock, like base sauce, and then flavor oil, right?